lawless, unforgiving Old West. One man tried to bury his past, only to discover that some nightmares never stay buried. Newly appointed Sheriff Harley Brogdon thought he'd left trouble behind, until ancient terrors from Native American legend clawed their way out of the cold earth. Bronze Star 2 is the thrilling continuation of the critically acclaimed Weird Western series by Eisner Award-winning writer Mike Barron and legendary artist Pat Broderick, co-creator of Creature Commandos. Return to Cobb's Gap, where every bullet fired is a deadly gamble, and every shadow may conceal an unimaginable horror. The legend rides again, deeper into darkness, into a series of hellish nightmares that will haunt you long after the final page. 2 chilling journeys into the heart of the Weird West await you in Bronze Star 2. Pre-order the pulse-pounding sequel now at bronzestarcomic.com.
Entertainment news today. You're such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. There's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark. All those bombs and flops, but MEAD never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark.
Greetings, everybody, and welcome once again to the greatest show on the YouTubes. Your favorite, whether you like it or not. It is time for Midnight's Edge After Dark Live. We got one of the OG crew back here tonight. We got Script Doctor. How you doing?
Hey, I'm super happy to be here. I haven't had an evening off this early in a long time, so I'm happy to spend it with you guys.
Awesome sauce. And let's say hello to everybody out there in the chat. We got Cosmic Squirrel, Tim Hayes, D-Bud Martin's hanging in there. Got Caleb Levine, Bryant Barth. Lovely. Sherry's in the house. That's lovely. Deeple 101. I'm sure some other regulars will be coming in here soon. We got John the Beagle Man, Snortapoopus. I'm sure Goddess of Women's here as well. There she is. We got FKHC 2005, Davina Duckworth, and so many more. Captain Krypton. Hit that like button. Share out the link. Let everybody know that we are live. We also have joining us Mr. Mark D with a C. How you doing, Mark?
Hello, very much alive, thankfully. So, yep, good to see you guys.
Alive? That doesn't sound good. What happened?
No, I'm just joking in general, right? You know, no, all good, you know. I'm just gallows humor. No, everything's
I was going
good.
to say, hopefully you're okay, because, yeah,
Yeah.
I just want to send out some love and some thoughts and prayers to our buddy Culture Casino, who is under the weather right now. So hopefully he has a speedy recovery. But
Oh, yeah,
if he's listening, yeah.
He's got epic hair. That can't go away anytime soon.
No. I wonder if they'll shave him. That would be hilarious. And then just for no reason, just shave it.
Just, yeah, you
We
know
don't
what?
need to.
Yeah, he's held up. You know what would be good for him? Let's have him lose some weight real quick. Just shave his head and beard.
Yeah, some nurse will come out. You know that poor homeless guy that was in that room there? I did him a favor and shaved off that scraggly beard, Culture wakes up and has a heart attack because his beard's gone.
Well, he's in
Poor
the right
guy.
place to have one.
Right? No, he had a little spell and he's a little under the weather, but hopefully he's doing good. And if he's listening, chime in the chat and say hello. But we love you. We miss you. Hopefully you're doing good. But we got some news to talk about. Mark, I don't know if you've heard any of this stuff going on here, but it sounds like a Cosby show is coming back.
How could they do that?
I know, right?
I thought that was something we couldn't watch anymore, enjoy.
I mean, who wants to be the ones to tell them? We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about Ruby Rose versus Sydney Sweeney fight. We'll see how that goes. I would actually pay to see that fight, actually, because I bet Ruby Rose would have her ass kicked as much of a tough guy as she thinks she is.
Well, I mean, she's still she is a recent recover to a spinal neck injury, so she's already got a
fucking drug
disadvantage from
addict.
that. Yeah.
She's Batwoman.
That's what we've
she
heard.
could kick anyone's ass, right?
Yeah, but Sydney Sweeney is one of the Spider Woman. So,
Oh, that's right. yeah.
back! I need more pills.
I mean, if they both dressed up in their respective costumes, that would make for a great fight.
Fuck yeah! In pudding. I would pay to see that. But anyway, yes, exactly. Skizzers, says D-Bud.
Add Harlequin to the mix too, right? Yep.
Well, you definitely need
Ah,
like
yeah.
what is the round girl, right? The one that comes out with the sign for rounds.
Yeah.
A Harley could do it
Round
then, right?
one, fight.
Keep it dirty, girls.
Yeah, keep it dirty, girls. Jeremiah Hembry comes in here with a member chat. How you doing, Jeremiah? Says he sent me some info on He-Man test screening, and what I heard was they were positive. Sent you something if you want to take a look at it. Well, let me see what you sent me here.
Oh, cool.
I didn't get a
Hey,
chance
this
to
might
look
be
at
the
it, but-
first movie with Jared Leto that's actually good.
You have so much faith.
I'm mixed on it. I mean, I love the production designing team on that film.
Oh, this is somebody else's video. Mr. H's, no less. Yeah, no. If you have like an actual like write up of it, send it to me. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna sit here and watch Mr. H. So no offense. Thank you though, Jeremiah. I appreciate it. But if it's positive, I wonder if it's actual audience screenings or if it's internal screenings. Because internal screenings always come out very well, but then when they actually release the movie, not so much. Yeah, so if you have something written up, I'll check that out. We got Tim Hayes, who's been here for 49 months. Thank you for that, Tim. We appreciate that. But let's get into the other story we have. It's a test audience. Okay, well, hopefully it's good, but it depends on what kind of test audience.
Which state did they pull
Yeah.
for the test audience?
Yeah, what was it? A bunch of young kids who've only seen like the hey, yeah meme and shit like that. Then yeah.
Or I mean, like, no, is it a test audience from California, or did they go outside of the state to see like Midwestern audiences or East Coast or South audiences to do that? Because I've heard some studios are actually conducting those like old school test screenings that just randomly pop up outside of California.
I did get something for some test screening a while back, but I think it was that Long Walk movie.
Oh, the Stephen King thing, yeah.
But anyhow, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm like I want to hear what 40 to 50-year-old men think of this movie. Then I'll actually try.
The old fogies.
The actual ones who are actual fans of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Who grew up with watching it as kids? Yeah, they might have something to say. I mean, they're the ones with the money. They'll be buying the tickets.
Yeah. But then we got Jason Webster who says sports news. Sydney Sweeney definitely
defeats
Ruby Rose in Rumble in the Hollywood Jungle. Yeah, that's right. We're going to get into that. Well, you know what? Let's just break into that now because this was funny. This is like a cat fight. I actually want to see this fight. Ruby Rose is pissed. She's pissed.
Uh-oh. Battle of the Network Stars again.
That's Sydney Sweeney, right? Yeah, because she claims that it's her fault that this movie flopped. It couldn't be the fact that you were in the movie and then you weren't anymore, right? Like that couldn't be a reason why.
There's probably some bitterness to it.
She called her a cretin, and I guess that is a ableist word or some shit.
Uh-oh.
Because I'm with Ruby on this one. I'm like, what the fuck? I didn't know cretin meant anything more than just, like she said, like sub-creature or old word for creature or whatever. Like, yeah.
Well, how the heck would Sydney Sweeney ruin the movie? I mean, that's insane.
Well, let me tell you why, Mark.
Okay.
Because she's not lesbian enough.
Oh, that's
Because
why I didn't
according
go
to
see the
Ruby,
movie.
you have to be exactly what you're playing.
Oh, so she's still part of that mindset. Okay.
Exactly. Well, I guess what happened was she got some blowback because of the Cretan thing. But on the
So
other
is she-
side of this, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, is she gonna lead a petition to burn all the copies of Brokeback Mountain and have that banned forever?
How do you know that Jake Gyllenhaal isn't gay? Seems pretty gay to me.
And we already know about Heath Ledger.
He's dead. Let's not talk about that. Anyhow, we have somebody else joining us. I am surprised he's this late, but hey.
Nick Nickelodeon. Nick Nickelodeon.
Nick Weiser.
Oh, hey. Looks like I came in here for a juicy bit too, right on time. Where are we at with this?
We're just getting into the nitty gritty here, or the gritty
Okay.
nitty about how Ruby Rose is pissed that
Oh, no.
it's all Sydney Sweeney's fault for not being gay enough and starring in this movie when it should have been her. She had another part in the film, I guess, but then it doesn't specify if she dropped out, got fired.
Probably got
But
fired.
That's my
I have
guess.
heard tons of stories
about
about
Ruby
how
Rose. Yeah,
awful Ruby Rose is to work with. And it's not like I've heard like an outlier. I have been hearing for years how awful she is to work with.
She comes from the age of video jockeys when all of them were horrible to work with when they
Are they?
transitioned from being a VJ to trying to be an actor. Yeah.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that part of her, but like I said, obviously that's all speculative. But when you hear enough of that, there are times where it adds up, becoming truth of it. I think Bill Murray is probably our greatest example of that because that's kind of now out in the out with it. And
she
now
hit
with
so many
Ruby
check
Rose,
boxes and was still fired from Batwoman.
dude,
What does
she
that
hired,
tell you?
the amount of check boxes she had helped keep that show going even after she was gone. Didn't she not even finish the entire first season or something like that?
No,
She
she was-
finished that first season.
Depending on who you,
season, she was fired in
Yeah.
between.
In
was gonna say,
between,
depending on-
what?
depending on who
Holy
you ask, she either
fuck.
left or she was fired. But like that, that's the
Doesn't
whole
matter.
controversy. She was actually replaced with a black woman, which is the only thing you could do at that point.
Yeah, right. As our friend Eric July would like to say, they tokenized the tokenized character. Like,
Really?
wow.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
When she
what are the
claimed
odds?
she
It
was-
is.
What are the
Yeah,
odds
she-
that a black woman who also happens to be a lesbian does find the bat suit and becomes a superhero? That's just really statistically unlikely.
Without any training.
Never tell me the odds.
And she lived in a van down by the river with a plant.
Oh, dude, I heard
That's right. What were you gonna
Remember
say,
that
Mark?
first episode when the Batmobile could not catch up to her, could not catch up to like the Scooby van, like in that chase in the second season. I'm like, this is supposed to be.
That
the
doesn't
Batmobile.
compute.
Does not compute, yeah. But I mean, there was some really dangerous conditions on that set. I mean, I was reading a story about one of the production assistants was actually paralyzed on that set.
Yeah,
they had a boom.
Yeah.
something from a crane dropped and hit
Crane.
her.
Well, the Reddit
CW
post that-
productions have always been unsafe since 2004, 2005.
I was gonna say, yeah, the Reddit post that's most responsible for the rumors about her behavior even says that they don't excuse how bad CW's stunt team is treated and how CW skimps on the stunts and everything like that.
They
So, I
skip
mean,
on
that's been
safety stumps. They cut.
Yeah.
Again, CW has had to cut corners all the time because number one, the money put in didn't always come back with the money received, and then on top of that, like Warner Bros. I've been hearing some interesting stories over the past few months about how much Warner Brothers hated CW. It's like because it was such a failed attempt. Like when it was the WB, it had promise. There was a bit more control over it. When they partnered with Paramount to make the CW, the studio, the two TV heads for each side were pretty good in unison, but everyone underneath them was just not in line with what's going on. And there's a lot of sketchy going on between the bottom rung, the middle management essentially. So this would be like showrunners and producers, and then the heads up above. They thought they knew what was going on. They did not. And then the crews down below thought that this was all lockstep with what the studios wanted, so they just kind of went with it because they needed the work. And man, it was just a big crap show.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Well-
Imagine going to work and then you get crane lands on you, you're paralyzed the rest of your life. I mean, God.
Yeah.
Not only that, it's like you get a guy who, like Greg Berlanti, who is not a good writer, and somehow he gets up to the rungs where he starts like the quote unquote Arrowverse with like 7 shows just on CW, and then another 6 on other networks across CBS. And you're just scratching your head as to how the heck he did this. And it just came down to the fact that desperation, incompetence, ideologically driven stuff of showcasing how great the network is for having an openly gay man being able to coordinate and run so many shows, and thinking that would give them any sort of impact in the industry. To anything, it actually like almost killed, the limited cable access TV.
The only thing he impacted was somebody's colon. Oh, damn it! I always hit the wrong button. Anyway, we have Jason joining us for Sci-Fi for Me TV. Just use the applause for that. There you go.
Hey-oh.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing the best I can with what I got here. We're talking about Ruby Rose versus Sydney Sweeney in the ring.
Round 1.
Fight.
Ruby must be looking for work.
Oh, she's looking for something, because I'm looking at her box office here, and here's what's hilarious about this Christie movie thing. Is as little as this Christie movie made, right? Because I think it was, 1.3 million or something like that. It made 1.7 million so far.
Something like that, yeah.
You know what Ruby Rose's last movie made?
Almost nothing. She was a medic.
$31,000.
Yeah.
$31,000. Her entire box office is like, and this is
one
only
theater.
this is only because of John Wick 2 is like $815 million, right? But if you take out John Wick, her box office is not very good. She's never really been a star of anything. So Ruby Rose has no room to talk. She's just pissy because fucking,
she's
not
a
in the
lady
movie.
who doesn't
Let's be
have
real.
her political leanings, and the fact that she's straight and not a lesbo or whatever she is this week, like her.
I think it's more to do with Ruby Rose is not in the fucking movie. I think that's
I think it's all of the above, A, B, and C. I'd even go that far as to say it's A, B, and C.
Oh yeah, it's definitely all of them. But I think the reason she's making a big stink, because like if she had never actually had a part in the movie, I don't think she'd be saying anything. That's my point.
Oh,
right?
man.
Like had she never been a part of the film, I don't think she would. But you're not wrong in the whole political, because it's getting her headlines now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's also because, again, as I said on the morning show, the trades need this type of stuff in order to get clicks. Nobody's reading them for what they used to report on. And then the other part is, I even think the woman that Christie is based off of said that she and Sydney Sweeney have a mutual respect and friendship.
She picked her, as far as I know.
Yeah. So it's like, oh,
Christy-
wow.
Christy
You have a
Martin even
lesbian,
went so far.
got a nearly, I guess, over 60-year-old lesbian. And her story's not really about being a lesbian, if I understand correctly. It's more just about
she just happens to be.
Yeah, it's about the boxing and coming over to abuse and terms and things of that nature. I'm going to be trying to see it this weekend, but yeah, it's like, okay, so the person who the movie's based off of, like Sydney, Sydney puts in a bunch of her own money to get this thing produced and released. And this woman who, let's face it, the biggest amount of attention she got was being on Orange is the New Black, like a decade ago. Full frontal nudity, which I won't deny. She has a nice pair of knockers.
And a little bit of praise for John Wick too. But Jason, you were a little quiet there. I know you were trying to say something.
Oh, well, I was going to say, because Christy Martin came out on social media and basically said that, defended Sydney and said she was perfect for the role, did a great job, every kumbaya all the way around. And this thing looks to be backfiring spectacularly on Ruby Rose. But Sydney even posted on her Instagram, with regard to the box office, she's like, sometimes you don't do a project for the numbers. And so she's kind of dismissing the lack of box office success on this thing, which tells me either she's talking about how this if this even empowers one woman to get out of an abusive relationship, then it's done what they wanted it to do. And I think that aspect of it you're going to find when it hits streaming more than anything else. And that's not a box office thing. That's a you're gonna have people react to it, and maybe go and get help. If they're in a bad relationship, maybe this movie is enough to kind of tip them over the edge that they go get help for that. And Ruby does come across looking jealous. And everybody else that's taking shots at Sydney Sweeney over this thing, this is just piling on after the GQ interview last week, where she refused to apologize for anything. We got a brand new meme out of it.
So basically what you're telling us is that Sydney Sweeney values art.
It sounds like it. And it's funny. It reminds me of Robert Pattinson, the career choices that he made following Twilight, to kind of distance himself from that, and he became this art movie actor for a while, doing stuff that nobody saw, nobody knew he was in, and he kind of disappeared. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, where's Pattinson? And then he shows up in stuff like The Lighthouse, and completely redefines his career. And I don't think that Sydney Sweeney is worried about her acting career right now so much as her celebrity. I think she's using the celebrity to kind of secure her financial state. And then, the acting thing is going to be whatever it is.
Oh, no, her end goal is to be an acclaimed director and producer. Like, she knows she only has so many years in front of the camera as an actor. So she's been working, and that's why she's producing so much stuff. And she's trying to get into directing soon as well, because she wants to do this long term. Like, she's not bluesy of other women that get in there just because they know they're attractive and think that they're going to be attractive forever, and then jump out, like, say, an Eva Mendes, who I guess is a charming woman, but she's not acting anymore. But no, she's had a plan since she started, actually making some waves on the indie circuits to basically transition out of acting and be full-time producer and director.
Wow. It's like she actually thinks about her career 10 years ahead and realize, my time is limited, and there is a time, there's a lid on these types of things. I should think long-term about this. Wow. She functions like a human being. I'm impressed.
Kind of like Elizabeth Banks, maybe in some ways.
I've always thought that she was smart, and the things, the things that have come out in interviews, I think a lot of it, you go back to not only the fact that she's a gearhead, in terms of the cars and her enthusiasm there, but when they came to LA, it destroyed the family financially to pursue her, her acting career. Her parents got divorced. They went through a bankruptcy. I think there was all sorts of financial stress. And having gone through some of that myself, I haven't gone through a bankruptcy, but I've been broke. And it does affect how you look at money. And, I need to make sure that my future is secure. So I'm going to do it. I think that's one of the reasons why she's doing all these endorsement deals. She's putting money away in the bank for that time when she's no longer the ingenue lead actress who can carry a rom-com. And the producing, you're right, producing and directing, that's a smart move. And the fact that she's already producing at 27, 28 years old, she's ahead of the game, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, for an actress like her, she'd be, especially in this modern age, you're lucky to still be working once you're into your mid 40s as, like, a main lead and not a supporting character, or not branching out into comedies playing, the kooky, eccentric main lead, or the supporting character, or the mom in a movie or sitcom. Like, again, like Jennifer Aniston used to be the big it girl. Now she plays the wife to Adam Sandler in a couple of weird movies on Netflix. Sydney doesn't really want that, as far as I can tell. But yeah, I mean, this is a woman who got her start when she was, I think, 14 or 15 in a movie that I think was co-produced by Cynthia Rothrock called, like, The Martial Arts Kid. Like,
oh, really?
Like, it's a real, like, and it was a bit part in there. But yeah, like, she came from pretty humble beggings.
Yeah,
although
like
there's
some Karate Kid ripoff.
Yeah. Although there is a controversy about like how she frames her education and everything of that nature, but it's all really just kind of build up her brand. But yeah, like she's doing something pretty smart that not a lot of actors who have had her fame in the past decided to do, which is get into the behind the scenes operations of things, so that if your beauty does happen to fade, you have actual skill sets of value within the industry to keep on making stuff.
Well, like I'd mentioned, yeah, Elizabeth Banks is, not so successfly done some movies like the famous Charlie's Angel movie,
Which was
but,
well directed. It was just a lousy story.
yeah.
The thing is,
So,
Elizabeth Banks knows how to direct a film. She's horrible with film history, though, and she doesn't have the best taste in what to direct.
but she's someone, gorgeous lady, and then trying to move into directing, and it's always much tougher for the ladies, I have to say too. Guys, we can get a beard and be scraggly and kind of keep acting, as an older actor. It's a little bit easier, but for the ladies, it is definitely tougher with under that spotlight. And you ain't young forever. You think you're going to be young forever, but
yeah,
it
I mean, in
happen.
some case, for women, you have a couple of options once you hit a certain age. It's you go the sitcom route, or you go away a while or become a voice actor, and then when you kind of settle into your new look, you come back and you play supporting roles, or you're a villain in a comedy or something. Like you follow like everybody wants to be Meryl Streep. Like she's always been acting.
Yep.
But you just have to be that good, and sadly there's not many out there that are. So you end up going through this part where you switch. You're still acting or you're still performing, but you're switching how you're doing it. You're going into different areas, maybe like I said, voice acting, or maybe you're going into coaching on the side. So you start up a small business where you're coaching young girls or young men, just until you kind of hit that area where people are like, you know what, I need a woman that looks like she's in her 50s to play this particular role, and it's a comedy, and then you go up for that. Like Sally Field would talk about, and Carrie Fisher would used to talk about too, is like, nobody's offering me roles anymore. So if anyone asks me to do something, I say yes.
I'll take it. Yeah.
How much do you think the industry is allowing for actresses to start producing and taking on their own trajectory there? Because I've seen a lot in the last 5-10 years, especially 5 years, where you have actresses, especially the younger actresses, starting to put their name on a producing shingle. I mean, you look at Hello Sunshine. Who is that? Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
She's got one. Jessica Alba's got one. Jessica Biel just made a deal, a first look deal, development deal, I think, with Paramount. I guess you still got some of that with the men, and that's been a thing for a while. But the women seem to be taking a lot more ownership of their careers from a producing side, as in addition to the acting side.
Well, that's where you get a lot more power.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jason, go ahead. You had a question.
No, I was just saying, I was wondering how much of that is a shift in the environment in Hollywood. How much of it is a shift post Me Too? How much of it is some of these younger actresses sitting there going, you know what? I'm not going to bend the knee. I'm just going to take care of my own. Because Sweeney has even come out and said, you would think that women in Hollywood would support each other, but it doesn't work that way. It's knives out all the way around. And so I think maybe
it's pretty much that way in any business with women, though.
Well, sure. And I'm wondering if enough of the younger ones are starting to realize, hey, I got to look out for myself. I need to produce so I can control my career better.
Well, a lot of actresses do that. The problem is that it's always done in the independent sphere. So, for instance, Sydney Sweeney, she is a producer. She's technically not an industry or Hollywood level producer. She has her own production company, but studios aren't giving her a whole lot of autonomy when they sign her for something. She has to fight for that position, and even then is still a low level position. Same thing even with Reese Witherspoon, when she was, after she finished, I think, Legally Blonde 2, she got into more producing. and she would be getting like basically a champagne credit to a lot of stuff, and she had to kind of fight her way to get more credence. And a lot of actors start their own production companies, and especially when they get hit big, because that bunch of responsibilities of that production company is to find them scripts that they can sign on to with a director so that it can get made.
Yeah.
So
and that's
every actor
typical,
does
yeah.
that. The difference being is that not many of them, after they have sort of faded out of the limelight, stick with that company to actually produce for other people. And that's where you have Jessica Biel and you have Gina Davis and you have Reese Witherspoon kind of standing out of the bunch there, because they have their companies and they're saying, you know what, maybe this isn't a project that I'm going to act in, but I'm going to produce it to get it made because I can still make money off. And again, all of those actor-owned production companies, they are not supported by the studios. They work in partnership with the studios primarily for distribution and sometimes financing, but not all. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you'll never see. I'd be shocked if in the next 5 years you would see something like Sydney Sweeney signs a deal with Universal with a production company for First Looks, valued at like a $2 billion contract, like you would see with some of the other things that Universal, the other studios do when they partner with another production house. You're not going to see that with many actors that have production companies. And like, heck, even now Will Ferrell, when he dissolved Dirty Sanchez, his new one, which I can't remember the name anymore, it's not securing many deals right now. So like, it's just the par for the course nature of the game. The only difference, Sweeney knows that goal.
It kind of doesn't surprise me because Will Ferrell is not flavor of the month right now.
No, since him and Adam McKay kind of split, nobody's been interested in either of them.
I've never been impressed with Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell always plays Will Ferrell. The only time he's not played Will Ferrell was in that one movie, Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, he can act, but everything else that I've seen him in, he's Will Ferrell.
I guess a lot of those scripts like him being Will Ferrell.
Well, I mean, it's part of the brand for the comedy, which is you create a character that could be put into other films. Some people even jokingly call it the John Wayne syndrome. Like John Wayne, he plays.
There are some actors
John Wayne
in
all of the movies, but he does have some. He did have range, and then as he got towards the end of the career, he just came in there.
But then there's other actors who are more character actors, or some actors that can be a little more chameleons. But for the most part, what you just explained was like 80% of your movie stars, right?
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all these guys. Julia Roberts, even, or you mentioned
Julia
earlier
Roberts
from Friends.
Emma Roberts has her own company.
The production company side of it, that's something that's always been like when you see Plan B before any Brad Pitt movie, that's his.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Same thing with Overbrook or whatever. That's Will Smith.
Yep.
I mean, all
Fairview is Jon Favreau. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jersey Films, that's been Danny DeVito's, and he's produced a lot of films outside of his own shit. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why it's in front of like Pulp Fiction and a bunch of other stuff. So like, I mean, a lot of these guys, that's how they realize that you make the money, right? It's kind of like the same thing in the music industry where the money's not in the being in the band. The money's in owning the rights. And that's part of what this is all about, is that part of that production company now owns the rights to that movie, not just the studio, right? So then they have a piece of that movie until its rights change hands and whatever happens, usually the 35-year rule, if that comes about. But I mean,
even Bonsai.
Well, yeah, there's even movies, like I said, even to this day, there's still movies where you run into, and it gets more complicated the more farther you get down the road. This is something I remember hearing about with Paramount more recently, where they were talking about how they choose a lot of the movies that get re-released and stuff. 9.9 times out of 10, it has to do with the shit they can release that they don't have to deal with a bunch of other rights. Like, so like all their older stuff, that's why you see a lot more of their older classic rated Hollywood type stuff. And they're good at getting that out because they own all the rights to that shit. They don't have to deal with a bunch of different people on getting that movie out. Now you get to more modern stuff in the post-90s era. You've got 12 production companies that own the rights to every fucking movie. That's the problem. Especially when you go and you make fun of like the ones that Family Guy. That's one of my favorite. I'm not a big Family Guy fan, but that's still one of my favorite jokes. Because it's true. When he goes in the theater and he thinks the movie's going to start and it's just a bunch of production company fucking logos. Or was that The Simpsons? It doesn't matter. They got to be the same.
Guy.
I was gonna say they're about the same no matter what. So at that point,
that comes down to financing. It's like you needed that many people to kick in some money to get this movie made.
Well, that's another point that I keep making where they're like, how does Disney keep doing this, or Warner Brothers, or all these other companies? It's like, that's how. Because you've got 50 different fucking companies kicking in money.
Yeah, and the studios, like Warner Brothers doesn't spend their own money. No studio spends their own money. They
One
all
of
have other deals that come in, and then after that, it's like, okay, they sign a liability waiver saying, "Yep, if this movie doesn't make any money, we don't get we don't get our money back."
Sony's the best at that. Watch any Sony movie now, and they've got like 12 production companies before every movie. Garfield was hilarious.
Yeah.
I swear, like the first 5 minutes of the movie is just fucking production company logos, and then you got to sit there through the credits where they list them all again.
It's like Star Trek Discovery had like 19 producers. You know?
Yes.
That's because they make
27, I
every
think it
staff
was.
writer a producer, which is
Yeah.
almost unheard of.
Well, that's kind of like their thing now. But like, yeah, to get it kind of back around to this whole thing with Sydney Sweeney and this whole thing, like, look, I've said it before. She is somebody who is on the verge of being a movie star. She has the potential. She has what it takes. She just needs the right, like 2-3 movies in a row to set her up.
She needs a couple.
Christy was not going to be it.
No,
And she knew
She was
that.
hoping it would. She was hoping.
Now, under normal circumstances, this would be an awards winner for her.
Mhm.
But because
'cause
she's who she is, that she's not going to get it this year. But yeah,
Yeah, look at the movie Monster, right? I mean, that was a huge.
Well, yeah, with Charlize Theron, that really elevated her.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the other part too. So Sydney Sweeney is at that fork in the road of her career where she could be the female version of Henry Cavill, where she has a
Yeah.
huge supporting fan base but doesn't actually draw any audience in, or she could be, Angelina Jolie, Reese Witherspoon, Jessica Biel, all of those hot it girls that had that 5 to 10 year stretch before you go away. However, her again game is she's not going away. She's just going to go behind the camera.
I think Angelina Jolie is probably the best example of how far she can go. She has all those type of things going for her. What
Mhm.
she needs is like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type movie to put her above the, you know what I mean? Like, because what did Angelina Jolie had? She had like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Tomb Raider, and a few of them that all hit real big at that same time period and made her who
Yeah.
she was.
I mean, I think Sydney's got this one thriller with Amanda Seyfried that's supposed to be coming out. That might do it because it's a good genre thriller. And I remember reading the script last year and thinking it was pretty solid.
Now, to be fair with
Yeah.
Angelina, she did kind of get her big start with that Girl Interrupted movie, right? Now, I'm not saying, but see, Sydney is not that kind of an actress, and that's where this Christie movie comes in. And I think Jon Stewart, I got to give him credit. He actually was right about it. Like, you can't dump on this movie because it's a movie not even made for her audience. And the people that should be getting blamed for not showing up are the people that are dumping on it. That's the fucking problem you have here. Is all these people that are saying, see, we told you she's no movie star. So yeah, it's like, well, where were you? Because you were the fuckers that come out here and say, well, these are the kind of movies that need to be made. And they make one, and you don't show up for it. Nobody was expecting Sydney Sweeney's fans to show up.
Most of those types of people who want those things that are quote unquote made for them don't show up anyway. That's just also the truth of it too. Outside of a very few rare exceptions, they just want companies to do what they want them to do. That's simple as that. They don't actually care about supporting the thing. That's why they're tourists.
And I'm not
they aren't
saying
there because they love it. They're there because they want to make orders of you and expect you to follow them.
she needs like an action film, a romantic comedy, and maybe some kind of family film to kind of set her up. If they all do well, and she's the main lead in all of them with somebody who's supporting her that helps.
So
Right.
She
Like, I'm
could
not
use
saying
a
it has
good
to be
ensemble
Barbarella,
cast. She could use a
yeah.
good ensemble cast to blend in because I feel like she would
Maybe.
shine that much more with the ensemble cast. I'd be like, oh yeah, this cast has this, and that, and this lady was really good in it as well, aka Sydney Sweeney.
Well, in those 3 areas, I feel like would be her power areas. Like I haven't seen Christie, so I can't comment on it. She could be an Oscar caliber actress in that. I don't know.
I've seen her
that's
in
not
Americana. She was good in that, but that movie
Yes.
was
Well, and
put on the
she's-
shelf for a couple of
she's
years.
been nominated for Emmys twice now for Euphoria or White Lotus.
But
one
the
of them,
problem
I
is,
can
Jason,
remember.
is like in comparing her again to Angelina Jolie, she got the Oscar, and that's kind of what set her up, right? From there on out, it was, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Tomb Raider, all those kind of movies that kind of made her who she was. Wanted.
It was more like high concept films. The thing with
Yeah.
Sydney Sweeney is that number one, the further she stays away from Disney, the better.
Yes.
Because they will kill her. They will destroy
Yes.
her career. Number two, I think if she leans a bit more on the romantic comedy side, she will actually get more traction than trying to do a straight
agree.
drama or an action film, because action films with female leads still have a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, even if they are able to pull off, the difficult and make it a real good crowd pleaser. And straightforward dramas, they just don't resonate with people. But a romantic comedy is a huge gap in the industry, at least on the theatrical scale. They're all over Netflix and Hulu, but nobody's really going to Netflix and Hulu for romantic comedies.
If she can do like when I say family film, like if she can end up doing like a voice in the next Sonic movie or something like that, that's kind of what something like that. But anyway, you were saying, Jason.
the other thing too is there's a rumor that she's being eyed for a Bond girl role. And
that would help her right now.
There's been all sorts of fan casting having her play Power Girl for the DC universe because she's perfect for that. I mean, she's absolutely
too obvious for that, and that's why Gunn won't cast her.
Well,
like cast her, but just not for Power Girl. Because number one, here's the other part: a Power Girl thing. That's her doing a ton of special effects and not doing a bunch of acting. Sydney Sweeney doesn't like that. She would play Black Canary over that because she'd be able to do fight and stunt stuff in there. Plus, she'd be in fishnets and a bustier. And that's way better for her.
In the Power Girl window?
I
don't know
would much
about
rather
that.
see her as Black Canary.
You think a corset's better than the boob window?
When it's Sydney Sweeney, you don't need a boob window.
I'd rather have her play Canary. The other part too is then we'd have a Green Arrow movie.
Yeah, the thing is, you want like for her. She did the special effects stuff for Black Widow, and she was so disappointed to find out that she wasn't going to be doing any actual fighting or stuff.
You mean
so you're going to tell me that you're going to want her to take a role where she has superpowers, where all the action stuff is going to be a CG model and not her? Yeah, she's not doing that. Like, and fans out there speculating it, you're looking at it superficially. And again, if you pay attention to how James Gunn casts, he does not pick the first choice or the obvious choice for it.
Outside of Jason Momoa's
that know how to act and know how to have contribute something more to the role. Like a lot of people had doubts for Nathan Fillion being Guy Gardner, but he was fantastic.
Well, somebody made a joke.
I'd say Lobo was his one exception to the rule on that. Everyone saw that one coming a mile away.
Yeah, well, I don't know how Gunn casts
played
things.
Lobo in the Snyderverse.
Yeah, well, I don't know how Gunn casts things and how that'll go.
Snyderverse?
Yeah,
somebody joked.
He was dressed as Aquaman, but he was Lobo.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, I thought you meant like officially. I was like,
it was officially all right. Fish-ally.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, like
he was in fishnets.
Oh.
Now my whole thing is funny because somebody joked the other day about me being being Sydney Sweeney's manager or agent, but you know what? I don't know if I could do a worse job than the one she's got right now, because honestly, I agree with you, Jason. A good step for her ahead would be a Bond girl. Yeah. And it would actually help Amazon in their James Bond situation, because no matter everything they do, it's like it seems to be working against them. They turn around and ask everybody who the fuck they want for Bond, and they turn around and cast a no-name. It's like, why the fuck did you even ask? It's like when your girlfriend asks you something after she already told the other person what they were doing. It's like, why are you even asking me now? You already made the decision, right? Like,
you're supposed to be psychic.
Yeah, well, not just that. It's like, well, I want your opinion. It's like, well, what does it matter now? Like,
well, if you want my opinion, just give it to me, right?
Yeah, just give it to me. Exactly, because you already made the decision before you even asked me.
Well, and I think Barbarella might help as well, depending on how well it does. Now, if Hanoi Jane is in it in any way, shape, or form, you're going to get a lot of people that don't go see it.
Well, and here's where I agree with script. Doing a comic book or some kind of major action lead thing with a woman right now is fucking death. No matter if it's good or not. And even I don't even know if Sydney Sweeney could pull it off, because she was in Madam Web and it didn't help. And I mean, I get it. She's become a much more of an it girl since then.
Black Cat and Spider-Man, that would help.
Yeah.
Because that's not
But my point is that, superhero movies are dead. Okay, let's be real. In 5 years, they're going to be dead.
No, they're not. They're just going to be not mainstream anymore.
Well, and it's as far as like making careers, they're not going to be like they used to be, to where if you were in a Marvel movie, that would get you more gigs. That's not what these movies are going to be anymore. They're going to be the bottom of the barrel. They're going to be the shit that people don't want to watch anymore, because yes, you'll have your Spider-Mans and your once in a while a Batman or whatever that'll hit. But other than that, it's going to be just like it was in the 90s again. They're going to start tapering off, and the studios are not going to be putting the money.
They're going to be like a bunch of Dolph Lundgren Punisher films. Like that's
exactly my point.
I mean, again, superhero movies have not gone away since Christopher Reeve donned the tights. The thing is that their frequency and their popularity are what waver.
Exactly.
So they're never going to win.
The thing about it is, though, if you do it right, but if you do it right, and you don't have to have a $250 million budget to do a good superhero movie.
No, and that's not even the point.
On if you do it right. I mean, the intention is that they're trying to do it right, but not all the time they get that. It's too difficult to figure out.
all right, I'm being a little hyperbolic when I say dead, but what I mean by dead is like, you know, when you had Disney spending $200-300 million on these movies, they're gonna have to learn they can't do it anymore. DC's already learned they can't do it anymore. We've had how many crappy fucking comic book movies, whether it was a Hellboy or a Crow movie that were literally made for a box of donuts and $1, right? Like, that's where we're getting again. We're getting right back to the days of fucking Spawn and fucking Judge Dredd all over again.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
I
like
mean, the
this
movie
is where
industry's
we're
down
at.
as a whole, so yeah, you
That's
don't
what
have
I
those
mean.
big, huge.
So
Oh,
they're not
yeah.
going to do
Okay.
that anymore. They need to find the next big thing, and whatever that is, hopefully Sydney Sweeney's a part of that. I just don't think a superhero movie. I'm not even sure Barbarella could do it right now because I agree with script. Like, regardless of what Barbarella is, I don't trust the studio to make anything decent right now. And I think the audience is going to look at that and go, oh, it's just another female superhero.
Yeah,
Because
you
a
have to
large
remember-
portion of the audience doesn't know who she is even.
You have to remember, Drew Barrymore had the rights for Barbarella for a decade and could not get that movie off the ground when she was at the peak, especially during her Charlie's Angels phase.
I think there was at least 3 versions
Well,
of Barbarella that was supposed to happen.
Drew-
There was
Drew
a direct
Barrymore
sequel.
Drew Barrymore doesn't look the part, for one.
Well, there was a direct sequel at one point that was going to be made, and then that was in the early 90s.
Mhm.
And then that got snafu'd, and I think that's when Barrymore probably bought the rights. I
She
think
got the
she
rights.
was-
She was going to be it for the first iteration, and then afterwards
Yeah.
she decided not to. She was just going to be the producer on it.
Yeah, and then it just languished for years. And then I can't remember, did it go back to who owns the original rights to it? I can't remember the company that owns it. It's
No, I can't remember either. All I know is that Sydney recently acquired the rights for a film, and I think she's
Yeah.
got it on like a 5-year deal as an option.
so she has it'll happen. It's just the timing of it.
It's going to be
Well,
tough.
just don't remake Barbed Wire either.
Well-
No, it's happening. Barbed Wire's happening because Pamela
Oh, it
Anderson and her sons formed a production company. They've acquired the rights, and we're getting a Barbed Wire TV show, I think.
I
Yeah.
heard something like that she owned the rights
Yeah.
to that. But let's see what you
Yeah.
guys are talking about there in the chat. We got Jason Webster who says Ruby would be convincing in the role, more convincing in the role of a store mannequin. Well, don't give her the idea. Then they'll
Hey,
make a
she could do
mannequin
the
remake.
sequel
and
to
she'll
Mannequin
fix
on
what
the
she was
Moon.
in it. Yeah,
Mannequin
So
5.
Sydney would be good for a mannequin remake. There you go. Jeremiah Hembry says he found that article. All right, well, we'll try to come back around to it. In fact, I won't even remove that super chat just so I kind of remember there. And then Action Comes to script. What's with All's Fair Hulu show? It's bad enough that they make Al Bundy a wussy, but how can I get less 10% from critics? What's his
That's
face
the,
on that show?
That's the
No, that's Kim Kardashian show. First of
The
all, I
legal
mean,
drama.
listen, Ed O'Neill, he plays the clown. So
Oh, that's what I was going to say. Ed O'Neill's on it. Yeah, he's not Al Bundy in the least.
no,
I wish
and
people would
I mean,
wish they'd
even Al
understand
Bundy,
that.
He plays clown characters. Like, that's why goofy, endearing ones that you like to watch. Even when he's Al Bundy, he's a guy who's being defeated by the world like every step of the way. The only time he kicks ass is when someone abuses Kelly and he just goes in there and beats the crap out of him in a movie theater or a library or something.
Yeah, no, and in real life, Ed O'Neill is nothing like Al Bundy.
No, he's a really charming and
Yeah.
calm guy. Again, this is Ryan Murphy. Ryan Murphy is like a scourge of television. he made Glee, and that really threw.
Well, and I've heard
TV
Ed
off.
go off on some lefty shit too at times, but
Sure.
anyway. Yeah. Then DCB Titan asks, but did he deep impact? Oh, yeah. John Wayne is in the house, and he sent a very generous $10. Says, currently swimming in various cold and flu medicines. It's making the show very interesting. Don't comprehend much. Your voices counter the other voices in my head. Pumpkin pie time.
A mix of John Wayne and Dana Carvey's George H.W. Bush.
Well, John, I'm
Good one.
happy. We're happy our voices can keep your other voices balanced.
Good
We
me
keep
proud.
each
Would
other
me
in check.
proud. That's more of his George Bush. Down here,
A bit
like
more
that.
nasally. Yeah.
Yeah, no, my John Wayne is not the best. I suppose I gotta get it up there a little more. But yeah.
Well, you gotta throw in a little more Kurt Russell.
Yeah, a little more Kurt Russell. The check is in the mail. Breaking news, Ruby Rose is jealous of the CGI Megalodon in the Meg. Well, she's upset because the Meg is actually a man. It's a boy fish. That's what she's pissed about. It should be played by a girl fish named Meg. She was in that, what, the first one or the second one? I can't remember which now.
It
Must have
doesn't
been the
matter.
second one, right? Yeah.
I don't even remember now, but that's one of the other reasons why her box office is that big. Like she's been lucky to be in like a Resident Evil, the Meg, one of the Megs, and stuff like that, and the John Wick and stuff that's helped her box office. So yeah, let's see what else we got here. We got action. I should have read that one.
We already got on the other one. Yeah.
Did I miss that one?
The what was it? The $10 one? It was just orange. You just had it up. We didn't answer that one.
Soul Nightmare. Yeah. Hang on, I got to bring that back. But I accidentally bumped it. Here it is. Soul Nightmare says it's like the weirdos who constantly attack James Gunn and want him to be evil, egotistical, that word, only to find no one who has bad thing to say about him, especially his cast and crews. Yeah, I mean, it's funny how it is. Like, I'm not somebody who's like this huge James Gunn defender or fan, but I've had to become one over the last year or so. And it's like, what the fuck, guys? Like, why is everybody so hard on him? Like, and that's the other thing is like everybody blames him for the quote unquote Marvel humor. And it's like the shit that people didn't like wasn't him. It was Taika Waititi. That's what everybody keeps forgetting. And everybody trying to do his humor. Because the Guardians movie. Yeah, because the Guardians movies didn't have all the problems that everybody gripes about. You didn't have scenes being undercut by comedic moments and shit like that.
You mean while people are dying from cancer on their deathbed?
Exactly.
And cracking jokes?
Yeah. They weren't cracking any jokes there. Like,
well, yeah, contrast with the opening of Guardians, right? With his mother with cancer and dying. No one's cracking.
Well, that's what I'm saying. All the serious scenes don't have jokes in it. Like when Yondu dies, I don't remember a joke being thrown in there.
No, the joke happens right before he dies because it's like this big going out of death of glory type of thing, saving Peter Quill. Because he says, I'm Mary Poppins. And then, he saves him with the spacesuit thing. And then, says he may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy. And like, that's one of his last lines, I think, or something of that nature. And then he goes out in this bittersweet moment of being a hero. And you're like, oh, dang, I wanted to see more of Michael Rooker as this guy. Yeah. But he went on such a high note and an emotional one that really, really made for something great. I think the reason why there's so many people against Gunn, aside from the typicals, is the fact that it wasn't the normal Hollywood people that canceled him for his tweets. It was the people on the opposite side, and he decided to humble himself after that. And I think the people, of the traditional Hollywood realm were like, you shouldn't have humbled yourself from that. You should have doubled down. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. And then he kind of set a new course for himself and ended up becoming the co-head of DC Studios, and everybody's like, no, that's not how this is supposed to work. You're supposed to double down on your stuff, say screw you to all the crazy far right people or what have you, and spiral out of control. And James Gunn said, no, I'm not going to do that.
Well, it seems to have worked for him, at least for now.
Yeah, for now it has. Yeah.
And then we got let's see here, where did we leave off? We got the Soul Nightmare run, and then we got ultimate forward-looking actress Kathy Ireland, says Action Com.
Oh yeah,
she still looks good.
She's still doing anything?
She's out of main entertainment, but I think she's doing something with coaching and real estate, most likely, if I'm not mistaken.
Isn't she worth a gazillion bucks now?
Yeah, she's worth like $1.5 billion or something. I actually ran across an article about her line because she started doing this thing with socks in Kmart is where the whole Kathy Ireland industry started.
Mm-hmm.
And so now she's in a lot of home decor and fashion and all sorts of home goods. That started with a thing in Kmart. They approached her to endorse the socks, and she's like, how about I buy a piece of the company instead? And it just went from there. And now she's worth tons of money.
$3 billion in sales in 2021. Oh my God! Yeah, I knew she'd done very well, but God bless her. Wow, that's great. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
There you go.
I bet you I'd hate for Disney to do this, but they probably would. If they asked Kathy Ireland to come back and voice Ogress for like a Hulk crossover film, she'd probably do it because she had a lot of fun doing that character for the cartoon show back in the 90s.
I loved her in Loaded Weapon.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
brilliant.
Soul
Did you
Nightmare
guys-
says the. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say you should see her in Necessary Roughness, which was shot on the campus
Yeah,
of the
she's good in
University of
that.
North Texas, and I didn't get on the crew because I just was stupid and didn't get on the crew.
That's a fun movie.
Yeah, it
Soul
is.
Nightmare says the people Christie was made for now associate Sweeney with a particular German ideology from the 1940s. Exactly. That's
Yep.
basically what I was getting at earlier. You're not wrong.
Ding 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 ding.
Troy's been here for 38 months. How you doing, Troy? Good to see you. And then we got Flying Bind, who sends us a super sticker. I believe it's a Shiba dog with a thumbs up, if I remember right. Or no, he's saying hiya. There we go. Thank you for that, Flying Blind. And with that, let's get into some really weird news. Now, I'll admit this is a bit clickbaity, but I didn't start the clickbaitiness. Screen Rant did. Okay, so Netflix is officially reviving Bill Cosby's hit 1980s series with OG actors returning. Now,
I thought you were going to say with all white actors, and they were going to flip it. They were going to race swap
first thing, you look at this and you go, how can you return the Cosby Show? Because Lord knows they're not going to have Bill come back. He'd be canceled, so it'll be like the Connors, most likely.
And poor Theo.
And sadly, yeah, we just lost Theo, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be it would be a show about nothing but women and their beta fucking men and one wife, because we know Olivia would be gay. So that being said, no, it's not actually the Cosby Show that's being revived. It's the shitty show nobody gave a shit about, Different World, the spinoff that starred one Huxtable for like one season, I think it was.
Oh God.
Not even like a few episodes or whatever it was, and then she left and went back to the Cosby Show.
Cosby
show
wasn't
limp-
even involved in this show.
He was a producer. That was it.
Was
And I think
he?
he did a cameo in the first episode. Oh yeah, he was a producer on the show. And he did a cameo, I think, in the first episode when he dropped Lisa Bonet's character Denise off at the school, if I'm remembering correctly. If not, that was in the episode that spun off into the first episode. One or the other. Either way, it was. I remember when it came out, it was a big deal. It was built up like this whole thing. It was a block on Thursday nights where you watch the Cosby Show and then Different World. And it was just a boring ass fucking college show. It was a really not that it was bad. It was just boring. It wasn't that great. I don't even know how many years it lasted. I don't think it was very long.
I want to say three. I want to say 3 seasons because it changed when Lisa Bonet left after the first season. It focused on Kadeem Hardison, who's coming back as the dad of the next generation going to this school, and whoever he's ended up married to. So it completely changed the dynamic of that show. When Lisa Bonet left, it became more of an ensemble at that point. But I think it lasted 3 seasons.
It says it ended in 93, and that sounds about right. Well, FKH
seasons.
says 6 seasons. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure the Cosby Show helped it stay on that long. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So in other
I do
words,
not remember that show at all.
Not to be like mean about it, because like, yeah, it is kind of clickbaity. We're not getting anything that anybody really gives a shit about. I think this is gonna fall flat on its face.
I'll be mean about it. I think Screen Rant's a horrible site. And there's one other one that's out there that's just pathetically bad. And I've been calling them out over on Twitter for a couple of weeks now, because they'll do 3 or 4. They have the headline, kind of like this, the clickbait headline. And then they go 2 or 3 paragraphs before they even tell you what it is that the story is about. I'm like, this is called burying the lead, and it's unprofessional and terrible journalism. It's not Screen Rant that does it. I can't remember who it is, but it
sounds like Cosmic Book News.
Yeah, there's Cosmic Book News. There's a few other ones that.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah,
I mean,
me and my
I'm
colleagues
guilty of
over on
it,
that have been having fun reading their horrible articles, like how much BS they are.
And I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm guilty of it from time to time, but at least in the show here, I try to give you the truth, at least of the matter. I mean, it is a clickbaity kind of headline. No, Bill Cosby is not coming back for anything. I don't even know if he could walk.
Yeah, he wouldn't qualify for studio insurance to be on the show.
Just so many things. And not only that, Netflix would never be dumb enough to bring him back. But I just thought it was funny, kind of, because Script and I were on the same page. What are you going to fucking do if you act? And I wouldn't put it past Casey Warner, I believe that's who owns the rights to these shows, to fucking turn around, whoever bought the rights, to turn around and try to revive the Cosby Show just like the Connors, and have it be like the Cosby women, the Huxtable women, right? And you know damn well that's what it would be. It'd be, Felice Rashad running running the family now, and it would be the girls, and they'd find a way to have Malcolm Jamal Warner's character be dead, and they'd probably be real mean and have it mirror Bill Cosby's real son's death. And look, do I want to see Bill Cosby come back? Fuck no. Fuck no. The guy doesn't deserve. The shitty part is he was so, like, people, especially younger people, don't understand how big he was. Like, I just had this conversation the other day with somebody
He's been
who's
huge
younger.
since the 60s. I mean, it's Bill
Like, yeah,
Cosby.
I don't think people understand. And I mean, I bring this up especially when people talk about racism. It's like, no, racism, like, I don't remember racism because Bill Cosby was everybody's fucking dad in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It was the #1 show.
For a
Like,
long
nobody
time.
could beat it. Even The Simpsons tried. Nobody could do it.
You had
Bill
him, and
Cosby
you had
was-
Reginald Bill Johnson, and they were
He
both
was
black.
he was even bigger than Cheers. People don't remember that, but like, Cosby is the reason the NBC was #1. NBC was the bottom of the fucking barrel. They were starting to lose ground to Fox, and then all of a sudden Cosby came along, and boom, it was Thursday night was must see TV kind of shit, and all their whatever gimmicks they came up with, and it was always revolved around the Cosby Show. Always revolved around that. Because Bill was huge. People don't realize he was the #1 paid TV star in America. Didn't matter that he was black. He was Bill fucking Cosby. Like, people don't realize. I wish people would understand this, that when he got in trouble, how big of a, like, that's almost like your own dad, hearing that about your own dad. You know what I mean? It's like, oh,
you don't want to believe it. Yeah, yeah.
It's the Darth Vader reveal moment.
It's almost worse than that in some ways, right? Like,
Yeah.
And then don't forget Fat Albert too. Hey, Fat Albert. Which,
yeah, I mean,
can't
he
say,
was
but that was
Albert
Saturday morning.
childhoods.
That was massive. I mean, we all love that show, Fat Albert, and yeah, you talk about racism, and that helps you, see how mainstream people, accepted people. Yeah, not to say there isn't any or wasn't any, but that was a groundbreaking show too. This show, an upwardly mobile, successful black family. Kind of like the Jeffersons, right? But for the 80s, and people, looked up to him too, and everyone.
It was different because it
Bill
didn't
Cosby.
tackle the racism so much as you know what I mean? Because like the show
It was organic.
They were just,
It was
Yeah.
well
just
written.
people. They were just people.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
happened to be a doctor, and she was, what was she, a lawyer?
I think she was a lawyer. I think it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
They're just folks. I mean, they were successful. They were, upper class,
Very
but,
upper class,
upper,
yeah.
upper middle class, and race. I don't remember very much in the way of conversations about race at all.
I don't remember a single
maybe
episode
when his
having to do
dad-
with it.
Maybe when Grandpa was there, but even then, I think that those episodes probably had more to do with music than anything else.
I was gonna say, yeah, I don't remember them ever getting into racism per se, or like having one of those very special episodes where Theo has to face racism for the first time. Yeah, I don't remember any of that kind of shit in the Cosby Show. Cosby Show is always pretty benign, right? Like you said, if they ever got into history, it was usually in a positive way. It was usually through his jazz or paintings, or they'd have like some major civil rights movement. That's the closest they would get, is when they would have like some civil rights leader on the show. But generally they wouldn't dwell on that aspect, if that makes sense. Please, if anybody out there remembers better than I do, remind me. But it's
no, they were there. It was an aspirational family that you all looked up to, and it didn't matter if they were black or white. So I mean, from what I'm remembering, they didn't cover. Yeah, like you said, a very special episode, or like All in the Family dealt with race all the time in its own way. But the Cosby Show is like, here's a successful black family, and oh, by the way, they happen to be black, but that's not the focus. I mean, could you imagine if they did the Cosby Show today? How I mean, look at what Michelle Obama's been saying every other day. How horrible it was to be first lady and have to go through makeup and all the slings and arrows she
70s,
suffered.
And 90s had
Oh my
black
God.
family-led shows galore. They all had their own variation of greatness, and yet simultaneously they were all great. Whether
Now, I
it was
do
All
remember-
the Family, Fresh Prince, Cosby Show, Sanford and Son, they were all good. We all
Now,
gonna have our
Corley-
preferences, but they were all good. Go on, Tom.
Yeah, no. Corley and Rogue brings up that they did talk about Africa in one of the mentions. Yeah, but wasn't there something going on in Africa at that specific time? I mean, let's not beat around the bush. There was a few things that Bill, I think, as far as like movements and things that he did get into, but like, I mean, you had apartheid happen in the 80s, and I'm trying to remember what was going on in the 90s. You had
When-
Rwanda
when
happen
did
in there
Nelson-
between there.
when did Nelson Mandela get released from prison? That was about
Somebody
that
could have
92,
possibly been
wasn't it?
around that time. So yeah, so like that I can understand that there was a lot going on, but the show didn't necessarily dwell on those things too often. It felt like, at least not from my memory, but I could be wrong. But I don't ever remember it being up a big old thing about racism and like I said, Theo having to deal with racism or something like that or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't think there was.
No,
But
it
no,
wasn't the
Different
focus
World
of
I
the
think
show.
leaned
Yeah.
more into the blackness, but at the same time it was Cosby's version. See, this is another thing that if you weren't alive then you don't remember. Bill was very anti-gangster movement. Like he hated this idea that young black men were getting into gangster rap, and he looked at it as like a step backwards for the black community, right? So like he had a lot of that kind of stuff he went into, and he was the one who famously told kids to pull their pants up. I don't know if you guys remember that shit either.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember. I actually had an instructor who did that at the trade school I went to. He was like, "Hey, put your pants back up." I was like, "Oh shit." Yeah, we need more guys like those telling these dudes to stop keeping their asses openly available.
Nah, but I wish he wouldn't have fucked his legacy up, man.
I
Because
agree.
Yeah.
he was a very funny comedian, and he never had to play blue. Families loved him, and it's just sad that his legacy went the way it did.
I still have the position of old weird Harold for one of my cats. I had a cat that I called Old Weird Harold all the time, and now I've got
based
one,
on his stand-up thing, yeah.
yeah, because Old Weird Harold was one of the kids that was hanging out with him with Fat Albert and the gang in his stand-up. Harold I don't think was part of the kids in the show, but it's part of his stand-up, and specifically one of the ones where he's playing a trick on Fat Albert. They've got this Frankenstein dummy in an alcove, and so he's like, "Hey, Fat Albert, Old Weird Harold's getting a beating. Let's go watch." And he's pushing him up, and then the light comes on, and the Frankenstein thing goes. And he says, "I forgot I was behind him," because when he turns around to run away, he ran over him. But yeah, Cosby's humor, but also his educational aspect of all of this stuff. It wasn't just let's be funny. It's we're going to put a lesson, not a message. We're going to put a lesson down here in the subtext that kind of teach you about how to be a better person, especially for black kids. And somebody mentioned I Spy. It was groundbreaking for him to be a co-lead on I Spy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was basically the guy who says, I'm successful and I'm funny and I'm a good guy and I happen to be black. Black didn't become a thing until Obama became president, and then all of a sudden everybody hated everybody again.
Well, not only that, he had, going into the 80s, what helped build him up was not just his stand-up, but he had his other TV show, and then he had the I Spy that you're talking about, and he also had a couple movies as well. So like he was kind of on the up and up. Now in the 80s, he couldn't get a hit movie to fucking save his life, but he was the biggest star in the world on television, right? Because we famously make fun of Leonard Part 6 and Ghost Dad and shit like that. But like, yeah, for some reason he just couldn't get a box office hit. But
even in the 90s, he had a small cameo in Meteor Man.
That's right. That's right.
And he was almost Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
There was a time when they were considering him and Michael Jackson both to play the Doctor.
Yeah, but he had like the Devil and Max Devlin and Uptown Saturday Night and stuff like that. And it's just sad. It's just sad. But no, Different World. I don't think anybody gives a shit about a Different World.
No, and you're right. Casey Warner is a producer on the new show too.
I'm not surprised. I was gonna say I don't know if they had sold out or if they were still because I think they were still around because they own Roseanne as well. I think so. But anyhow, that being said, Goddess of Whim says Gary K. Wolf got the rights back to Roger Rabbit. Yes, I heard that. I've yet to congratulate him.
Jessica Rabbit movie.
He's a friend of mine. Yeah, and he did announce they're making a Jessica Rabbit movie.
There's Sydney Sweeney's next thing. She could
There you
play.
go.
She could play Jessica Rabbit in the live action film.
There you go.
I mean,
But yes,
I prefer Jessica as a cartoon.
You like how she's drawn?
Yeah, I mean,
by the
she's
way,
not
do you
bad.
see?
She's
Do you
just
see
drawn
Paige?
that way.
Do you see Paige Sporanic dressed as Jessica for Halloween? You guys know who Paige Sporanic is?
No,
The golfer.
no.
Oh yeah, she could definitely do just Jessica Rabbit.
I can
yeah,
pull up
for
a
sure.
picture if you want. Yeah, she
Flying
definitely
Blind
has
says,
the.
wait a minute, wasn't Mrs. Cosby killed in The Beekeeper? Yes.
Yes, she was. Yeah.
And that's what made Jason Statham kill a whole fuck ton of people.
Yes.
You mess with Mrs. Cosby. Mrs. Huxtable. Anyway, Soul Nightmare says, I grew up with Fresh Prince, Family Matters, and George Lopez. They all dealt with issues like race, not just from the whites, but did so with class. And about class. That was the other thing. Now, I don't know about George Lopez so much because I didn't really get into that one, but definitely Family Matters and Fresh Prince for sure. And Family Matters was a lot like the Cosby Show. It was just more of the middle class version of it.
Until it
No
became
way.
the Steve Urkel show. Yeah.
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
whole nother
That's
thing.
a massive story of weirdness.
Yeah.
What's funny is that like Reginald Bell Johnson doesn't hate Jalea White at all. He was just upset with the show creators who not leaning into, what the show was, not leading into its original premise, and then just decided going with essentially like it'd be like what happens if instead of the Seinfeld show it becomes Kramer, by season 2. Like that's what happened with Family Matters.
Right.
Yeah.
But all right, well, that is our last super chat of the night so far, and I want to thank everybody for joining us. Jason, why don't you tell everybody about Sci-Fi for Me TV?
Wait, we're not talking about the He-Man article?
Oh shit, that's right. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, that I'm looking forward to that because I want to see what this other groups of people have said about it because I'm only getting the stuff from colleagues that know friends that are part of the production.
Okay, well, whatever you sent me, Jeremiah, it's not a link.
Wow. Well, hopefully we'll get to that He-Man article. What's it about? Or do you know the basic idea of it?
I don't know. I've got some friends that are deliberately telling me different stuff because they know I'm a fairly decent fan of the cartoon show.
Mhm.
So they have been teasing me sometimes at times. They're like, yeah, Jared Leto, he's doing this English accent voice. I'm like, I don't think he is. Like, nah, he's not doing that.
Okay.
Huh.
Who's that?
Wowzers.
Is that like a AI version of?
No,
Jessica
she's a
Rabbit?
golfer.
No, that Paige Sporanic was a professional golfer. She's now an influencer on Instagram.
Okay.
She does a bunch of golf tips for people.
How to get a hole in one.
Yeah.
So she's about 6 months away from starting an OnlyFans. Okay.
She has passes, I think, but it's not an R-rated thing. It's for golf. So and bikinis.
Okay. Cool.
She's doing pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is Dolph Lundgren going to be in Masters of the
There's
Universe? I love that
rumors,
original
and I think
movie.
he's going to end up playing either King Randor or some other cameo. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it sounds like mostly positive. The movie's not done yet. Clearly in the early stages, it sounds like. There's going to be a teaser coming, I guess, soon. So I guess we'll have to see how it turns out.
Wow. Test screenings. So are they? Is it? So we're just stick with Masters of the Universe, not He-Man and the Masters.
Yeah, I think so.
So do you at least hope that He-Man is the main character in this movie?
He should be, from what all accounts that I know of, he is.
I sure hope so.
He's playing Flash Gordon in this one, I heard.
Hold on, what?
No.
He doesn't
No.
get killed in like the cartoon in the first half
don't
hour.
you give me hope there, man. I like.
No,
me
it's
some Flash
basically a
Gordon.
ripoff of Flash Gordon more than it is He-Man.
Oh, what?
It's He-Man on Earth, and then he finds out he's Eternian.
Oh,
The stuff that I've heard is
Flash-
that he somehow Skeletor wipes his mind and transports him, banishes him from Eternia, and people are looking for him to bring him back.
So yeah.
Interesting.
which could work depending on how they do it.
Well, yeah.
It's all in the execution, right?
Exactly. Yeah. The other part too is like, I mean, some of the images I've seen of the set design look straight out of the Lou Schreiber cartoon. So if they do actually meet that in practicality, like with in camera or with whatever effects that they're using, that will be a nice, positive for like the lifelong fans of the show. And also I think it'd be visually stunning for brand new audiences too, because Eternia is a really magical looking setting. I do know why. I mean, it's very obvious why they're doing this on Earth. It's just because it's expensive to do those things.
Yeah.
But if it does well, then all the production stuff that they've done of Eternia will get expanded when they do a follow-up sequel. If they do a follow-up sequel, but that all comes down to, will this movie actually make a wave with the massive audience? And that's what everybody's going to be wondering for the next 8 months, I think.
I
right?
just hope it's not Barbie movie as He-Man the movie. I have a weird feeling they're going to really lean into some stupid shit, unfortunately. I hope I'm wrong.
Well, I don't know anything about it being like on the action figure side of things. But if you're talking about like identity things, I don't know. I haven't heard anything of that nature other than, he's trying to find out or rediscover that he is He-Man and Prince Adam.
I don't like that. It's not part of the lore.
Well, it is if Skeletor's the one that took him away. It's an amnesia story.
Yeah,
man.
but
I mean,
it's still
it's
stupid.
there.
I hate
Dude,
that shit.
I mean, even
I
with
just
the
want
original
an
He-Man
origin
some of the
story.
premises were pretty dumb, but the thing is, it had heart to it, and I'm hoping that this film has the heart.
Yeah, but how hard is it just to give us the good origin story like the 2000 series did?
Well, it all depends on if those versions were actually done interestingly enough, and sadly, in most cases, a lot of people turn them away. They're like, "Oh, another origin story." Well, we've seen origin stories. Can't we just get into the the actual character? And yeah, that's one argument out there that's been circulating a lot.
Yeah. Just so you know, Man of the Year is Cynthia Erivo. GQ.
Is that like literally she's the actual Man of the Year? Because it says
She's on the
that
fucking cover.
I know, but is she like on the actual list, or is she just on the cover?
It says
just
starring Cynthia Erivo with Pierce Brosnan and Skepta.
Isn't
I gotta see the
Sydney
article
on
at
one
the
of these
time, because
covers?
if they bill her in the actual Man of the Year like as an article, then I'll say yeah, there's some there. I just wonder if that's being read wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I just
Yeah, you could be. I think you could be right, Nick. But I'm getting shrinkage right now. But anyway.
Well,
I'm glad you did from that one.
Well, Sydney's on GQ's Man of the Year cover as well.
So it's like
The
variant
fuck?
cover type of deal. So what's the deal?
Maybe I don't
See, then
know.
Are
we
you sure
need-
that
we
isn't
need more
last
to that.
month's and the Men of the Year one is like the last issue of the year, maybe? Could that be it?
I don't know. I mean, this is the cover that she's on, and it's GQ Men of the Year 30, and it's kind of formatted the same way.
Maybe they are multi-covered, but whatever. Okay.
Variants.
Yeah, I would say
Variant
don't. I would say for a wonderful chat, don't think anything of it unless there's an article in the magazine that states Cynthia Erivo as such.
Well, here's what she had to say about it. I'm proud to be Man of the Year.
Nosferatu. I mean, I guess you are a man, Nosferatu.
I will drink your blood.
I need to get an echo effect on my mic.
Yeah, Cynthia. SFX Sabretooth Raptor asks if I'll be on the comic show tonight. Not likely. It's a little late for me now. I get up super early in the morning, but you never know. Hello. Yeah, I guess so. Unless there are
I like
two
that she's
different
wearing
covers.
a
I don't
Goodyear
know.
T-shirt. That's funny.
Yeah.
I like
And
how
then
it's
we
a
got-
throwback to early '80s photography style too.
Yeah.
And we got Infinite Wanderer says, now that we've got a larger group, which would prefer Robert E. Howard's Cinematic Universe or Classic Universal Horror Cinematic Universe? Jason, which would you prefer?
I'd be curious to see what a Robert E. Howard universe would look like, and it does sound like I was thinking that we were going to get something like that because we've already had a Solomon Kane movie. You had the Red Sonja movie that came out, which is technically not Robert E. Howard, but I mean, Conan the Barbarian has been burning it up over on Titan Comics. The main title over there. I haven't read any of them lately, but I've heard nothing but good stuff about the Conan comic books at Titan. I think there's an opportunity there to revive Conan, but also to connect all of that. Cull, I think, isn't Cull getting a movie or
I
something?
know they're still shopping around for it.
So I think that a Robert E. Howard cinematic universe would be interesting to see, especially given that it's different time periods with Solomon Kane and such. The Universal stuff, if the Mummy 4 takes off and does well, then that could be an entry point into a new monsterverse with Mummy and Frankenstein's monster and Invisible Man and all of that, because the one with Tom Cruise just completely fell apart. So they're going back to something that maybe works. So I
I
don't
mentioned
have a
that
preference
too.
one way or the other, but
Okay.
I'm excited to see Mummy 4 though. I think it'll be fun if they do it right. See, that's the qualifier on everything, right? If they do it right.
If they do it right.
We'll just
Exactly.
add that to every single conversation that anybody ever has. If they do it right.
Yeah, I mean, like again, you have to go back into the intentions. This isn't Asylum producing the Mummy. It's like with Asylum, it's like we know they're not going to do it right because it's Asylum. They don't care. They're just laundering their money. But every other studio, a lot of the people in there have the entire goal that everything that they're doing is the right decision for this to work. The difference being is like, are they in sync with the audience? Have they collected the right data to see like, oh yeah, they not only would they like to see these characters, but there's these things that are missing within this genre or this type of film that if we hit that, they'll really appreciate it. And it's not about fulfilling wants because again, audiences only know what they want after they've seen it. They don't know what they want before, because if you give them what you want before, you get a bunch of Resident Evil films with Mila Jovovich just doing the same thing for 7 movies straight. But if you find out what they need and you give them that, they're like, wow, that's really great. I want to go see that again.
For me, I'm nervously anticipating the Buck Rogers movie.
I hope they get that off the ground, man.
Well, they got a writer.
I know.
And I think George Clooney is still attached to produce. I mean, we've been talking about this for 2 years now. Because we interviewed the newspaper strip version of Buck Rogers was owned by the John Dilley family.
Mm-hmm.
And John's grandson Flint, I talked to him, I want to say 2 years ago. It might have been 3 years ago now. He was on Live from the Bunker. We talked about this. This is when they first announced it. And Clooney's company apparently was on board. It was at the time. I think he's still attached as a producer. And one of the guys who wrote Deadpool versus Wolverine is the writer that they've got attached to it now. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but maybe I mean, I don't know what approach they're going to take. If they're going to make him a World War I or World War II vet, or if he's going to be an astronaut from the 90s, like in the Gil Gerard thing, or if he's going to be from now, maybe make him part of the U.S. Space Force. So I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it other than they've got a writer now, but it makes me nervous.
Nick, I don't remember
how... Reese or Paul Wednick.
Let me look,
because those are the only 2 writers that I know of for certain on Deadpool and Wolverine. Because Ryan Reynolds is not writing it.
No. Let me look. Zeb Wells. Zeb Wells is writing.
With this question here too, with does everything have to be an interconnected universe? Just give us some good movies. Why does it all have to be connected? Like, yeah, I would love to see a great string of Conan movies, but why do you have to have the Frankenstein and the Mummy and the Wolfman all together in one universe? I mean, Just make good
well-
movies and it'll happen.
Well, it's a
Is that your
universe.
answer?
It developed into a universe because Universal owned the rights to all of those characters. You don't necessarily ever have to have them ever cross over.
I mean, the only way for myself personally, the best modern day type of movie to unite all those Universal monsters is if you bring back Abbott and Costello,
Oh yeah,
and you do it that way.
You
my
could, or
favorite.
you could do like a
Nowadays,
League of
it'd be
Extraordinary
Jack
Gentlemen
Black.
kind of thing, maybe. But yeah.
Oh, that would be
Ian
fun.
Peel meet Frankenstein or something.
Like what I would do is you'd have like, Van Helsing be there kind of as the centerpiece, or your, whatchamacallit, Samuel Jackson kind of character. And from there on out, you'd have the monsters that are the tragic heroes, and you'd have the ones that are clearly bad. Like, Frankenstein's monster would clearly be a tragic hero as opposed to
the Invisible
Dracula,
Man
who'd be a
kinda
bad guy. Yeah, the Invisible Man would be a bad guy, where the Wolf Man would be, a tragic hero. You have enough of a team where you could get enough of them together to fight, kind of like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen kind of thing. And to me, that's probably the best way to do it, unless you just do straight movies like they used to do, and they're not connected.
Yeah, and you have Hugh Jackman play Van Helsing.
Something like that. I mean, they kind of were. I think that's where they were headed with that. To be honest with you, it just didn't. Materialize. And I think also the same thing with Dracula Untold, and the same thing with The Mummy. It's not like that's kind of not where they're trying to head. I just think they just weren't getting the tones right, and they're picking the wrong creatives like Kurtzman. And I'm sorry, but Tom Cruise is somebody who's too big to be putting in something like, and that whole idea of having these big A-list, AAA stars like Johnny Depp and Angelina Jolie and all that kind of stuff head up the Monsterverse.
And
I just thought it was a little too
Crowe.
pretentious. Yeah, I mean, you're getting a little too big for your britches there. You just need to kind of find some good actors who can kind of fill these roles, have some fun with it, lean into and this is the other thing that bothers me about this is lean into what make the original Universal characters memorable, right? Like I remember in the late 90s or early 90s, somewhere in there, they did like a Cheetos Pepsi ad campaign with the original Universal monsters, and it was a huge hit. Monster Squad's a good example of just kind of updating them just slightly enough to where that's more of a 25% different thing, but you still just update them enough to where they look realistic, but you don't lose the original look and feel of them. And you kind of lean into and play into what made them popular, right? You kind of have some fun with it. It doesn't need to be the super tragic Frankenstein story. It doesn't need to be the super tragic Dracula story. You just kind of give us a updated version of the original, kind of like what they did with Franklin Jella and Dracula in, what was it, 79?
With the Hammer films or the other ones?
No. When Franklin Jella did Dracula, it's and it was, I think it was 79 or 80. And I think John Bottom, I think directed it, wasn't it? You don't remember that? It was like more of a straight remake. It was more of a straight remake of the Bela Lugosi Dracula. Yeah. Or was it Franklin Jella, or is it somebody else I'm thinking of? I thought it was Franklin Jella.
Yeah, Langella played Dracula at one point.
Yeah, John Badham directed it. Yeah.
Oh, John Badham. Okay, so that's
and John Williams did the score. It was like kind of a more. It was just kind of a more
Laurence Olivier. Yeah,
expensive version of the Bela Lugosi version. Basically, is all it was.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it added some few new beats to it and stuff like that, and I think it borrowed a little bit more from the book, but at the end of the day, it was really just basically kind of romanticizing that kind of. It was kind of the step towards the Bram Stoker, Francis Ford Coppola Dracula in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, I'm pretty sure that was Universal, so it was them doing their version, and I don't know why they just didn't take off with do something like that, just kind of do, kind of more bigger budget kind of versions of those movies. Get some good directors. Like you already, screwed up having Guillermo del Toro do his own Frankenstein elsewhere, right? Like that's the kind of people you should get, like Edgar Wright and Guillermo del Toro and people like that to come in here and do these kind of things. And those are the kind of things I think that would sell.
Isn't Robert Eggers making a Wolfman movie right now?
I think so,
or just
yeah.
on the verge of being done with filming it? I think he has it scheduled for around Christmas time, around that time next year coming out.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that's what I was joking about, is he's already going to give us our Universal movies without being Universal through Nosferatu and his Wolfman movie and stuff like that. But anyhow, so anybody else want to answer this? I don't know, Mark, did you get you kind of said neither.
Yeah, I mean, I think just, it's kind of like DC, where they're like, Marvel was just so successful creating that shared universe organically by doing the movies and then building up to the Avengers. It's almost like when you heard that they were going to do it Universal. They announced that the Tom Cruise movie. They were trying too hard almost. It's like, just give me the movies, and if it works, then maybe you can have one that ties them together somehow. But I would love to see a string of great Conan movies again. That would, based on the new comic, that would be phenomenal. I know Nick would agree with that.
Oh yeah.
Indeed.
I don't want it as a cinematic universe. I'd like to see kind of like an HBO level series of Conan.
Ooh, yeah.
You could
That'd be
cover
good
way more
too.
content, have a lot more fun, get away with a lot more gore and nudity.
Especially on HBO. That's where you get to get away with
Well-
all toxicity.
I wish we'd have gotten the stuff that we had heard what was coming initially when they were trying to get something done through Netflix or Amazon.
When Ryan
'Cause,
Condal had his Amazon thing
yeah.
killed by Jennifer Salke, that was a tragedy.
Yeah, because even when they moved over to Netflix, they were still planning on trying to do both a series and maybe some movies. Like, because I even brought up, and it's far enough now, and it's not going to happen, at least not now. I even brought up to, God, I just forgot his name, the guy who runs
Oh, Frederick Mogak.
Frederick Malmberg. I even brought up to him. I said, "What are the odds of like saying, like say, like Arnold Schwarzenegger coming back and voicing Conan in like an animated version or something like that?" He's like, "Never say never," kind of thing. Like.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've always kind of been in communication with him as well to kind of. I know Arnold's more desperate every day to try and do something. So chances are, I have a feeling that they'll do so. And I even kind of threw the little bug in his ear. I'm like, just do like a series where it's like, just different times and periods of Conan, but just have Arnold do the voiceover. He's like, that's a good idea. I said,
I would hear Arnold narrating Conan, not Conan narrating Conan, though.
And then I walked up and I hit him in the head with a mallet. And I
We were
watched
looking
the
for a
blood ooze.
chopper, but there was no choppers because choppers weren't made in this time.
I knew that bitch was lying when she said she was going to make me dinner and sleep with me.
Baylett, get in the ship. Stop. Hurry. Come on.
Jason Webster says Sydney Sweeney has years of martial arts experience. Oh yeah, and this is where I said she could be an action star, but I don't disagree with. I mean, because I've been one of the people that's been preaching this, for a while. That
Dark.
putting a female lead action star in a movie right now is nothing but box office poison. Like I don't know if anybody.
Yeah, you can't have her be lead. You can have her be a supporting character, like a Black Cat equivalent, or if there was like a Conan or Solomon Kane movie, she could be supporting like role as like Dark Agnes or Umbrissa, something like that. But you can't have her be leading lady for a while in those type of things because even the ones that have potential to be good are now poisoned by default because of the endless amount of bad ones that we got.
And I don't even think Wonder Woman now could make close to $1 billion like it did.
God,
the only reason
no.
I think Wonder Woman made that much money back then was because A, it was in the height of the Marvel boom, and B, because Wonder Woman had never had a movie before.
Oh yeah. The idea of a Wonder
Those were
Woman
the two
movie,
main
the novelty alone worked. The novelty,
And it was a
alone
good
worked.
movie. Yeah. Good
Yeah,
cast.
it was 2/3 of a good movie. I'll give you that.
They never stick the land.
Yeah, and it would have been easily fixed. And I know it's not that way in the comics, but I'm like, all it needed was one good rewrite at the end. All you had to do was make, what was it, Ares was the bad guy.
Yeah.
All you had to do was make him her father, and it would make sense why her mother kept her on the fucking island, why she wouldn't let her do all these things, why war still exists because. After she kills her dad, after she kills Ares, war still exists. Now, if it was her dad, then that means she would now become the goddess of war. And that would give her a good reason to get involved with wars in the future, where she would side with the ones she thinks is the most just, because she would feel somewhat guilty that war still exists, because either she has to destroy herself or allow war to still continue because she found out she was the daughter of the god of war. And that's why her mother lied to her all these years. See, that would have fixed the ending. That's all they needed to do. The other problem with the movie is this. I like the first 2/3, but my biggest problem is you have her both being the smartest and dumbest person in the room, depending on what scene it is. And you can't have that. One scene, she's acting like a fish out of water, not knowing what the fuck's going on and aloof about sexual things and other things like that. The next scene, she's a fucking expert, right? Like that. There's too many scenes that are juxtaposed like that, where she's 1 minute she's stupid, the next minute she's the smartest person there. So other than that, the movie's fine.
I have to wonder if they were trying to go for the because Patty Jenkins keeps talking about Richard Donner's Superman as an influence, and you even get that with the bullet in the alley scene as an homage. I have to wonder if they leaned into trying to Clark Kent Superman with Diana Prince Wonder Woman and do the you know everybody points to the scene in Lois Lane's apartment when Chris Reeve takes off the glasses and he stands up straight, and you automatically just see a shift from Clark Kent to Superman just with his physicality. And I have to wonder if they were trying to go for something like that, where you had the buffoon disguise and then the hero.
But the problem was it wasn't a disguise for her. See, that's the thing.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and it kind of
break
falls
down
apart
a
in
little
that
bit.
respect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get where you're coming from, because that's the initial idea of the character.
Yeah.
But see, it just, the way they did it in the movie, it just, I don't know. It's been a few years since I've watched the movie. I have to remember how it all was kind of presented, but I don't think at any time she's like, quote unquote, acting like Clark. Because especially with the Christopher Reeve version, he's literally playing, Cary Grant. You know what I mean? Like he becomes a different character, a different person when he's Clark compared to when he's Superman, which is kind of the first time anybody had ever done that.
It was.
I mean, if you go watch the old Superman movies, you listen to the old plays, the radio plays, or you watch the old animated. There's not much differentiation between Clark Kent and Superman. The only difference is when Bud, what's his name, who played the original voice? He would just drop his voice, right? He'd be like,
drop it in off.
Yeah. He goes, this looks like a job for Superman. And that's all he would do to change it. Like,
he wasn't trying to play like a bumbling.
It's radio. What else can you do?
Well, it's not even radio. Even with the cartoon, and even with Kirk Allen, and even with later George Reeves, he's mild mannered. He's not a bumbling buffoon. The bumbling buffoon stuff was done by Richard Donner and Tom Mankiewicz, and with Christopher Reeve, because they wanted to have a far more broader distinction between the two characters. And it was a brand new idea that they sold so well that a lot of people thought that was the norm, but it was not something you ever actually see in the comics or even in the other cartoon series that came out. Like even the Ruby Spears one doesn't have Clark Kent as a bumbling.
Because the sad part
episodes
is the only other time there's any differentiation before that. And you're right, Script, and I agree with you, is like there was a time period there where I think, is it the George Reeves? I think where it almost kind of started making it, they kind of got out of it, but it's like you watch some of the earlier stuff and it's like, okay, they're starting to make Clark look like a wuss, because there's always this thing where Lois is making fun of him either running away, not being there when the trouble's happening.
Yeah, where are you?
And basically like calling him a coward in so many words all the time.
It kind of vacillated back and forth depending on the episode, because there's this one episode where I think Clark Kent gets blown up, and then Lois in her car picks him up while his clothes are tattered, and you can see the Superman suit underneath, but she completely doesn't even recognize it.
Cognitive dissonance at that point.
Yeah, they colorized the show.
The reason for that is because the hypnotic glasses.
The hypno glasses, those were introduced in the
70s.
I know. What was funny is that they started talking about the hypno glasses in the new movie, and I thought, hang on a second, I have that issue, and I know that they completely ignored it after they published it. So to see it come back was just wild.
It's one of the few things in the movie where I was like, okay, James is having a little too much fun with this, but whatever.
I love the hypno glasses. And I want X-ray glasses.
That part was one of its strengths. I love that. To me, the sillier parts were some of the better parts. When people are like, "Oh, but the monkeys," I'm like, bro, if they were me, I would have gone even wilder. It would have been hippos with those things on.
The whole thing was straight up Silver Age. I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is a Silver Age comic book, no question about that.
Now, should this have been called Superman? No.
It should have
been called Superman something else, whether it was Superman Legacy or whatever the hell it was called. I agree with people on that respect. It's not necessarily a Richard Donner Superman the movie level type movie. It's a movie that launches the DC universe.
It's not epic.
It has epic moments, but it's not treated like The Godfather, right? Like that's what the first Superman movie was treated like. I mean, basically,
Mario Puzo. I mean,
he was fired
and
from
Brando,
Superman, but yeah.
It should have been the thing is they should not treated it as a Superman movie. That was a big thing that a lot of people who had complaints about, whether it's people who enjoy it or did not. It was basically yet another team movie.
Now that being said, I love all the things that you guys said. Like, I've been waiting years, and I was one of the people that's why I didn't like Man of Steel, and I get it why there is a divide in the fan base because of this, is because I am sick and tired of the stoic Jesus allegory Superman. The only time that's ever been a thing was mostly in the Miller comics, from my remembering, like our Elseworld shit, because Superman has always been the gee golly shucks Boy Scout. Like, I know a lot of people made fun of that after credit scene, but I'm like, that after credit scene, that's Superman.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
he
Well,
would
and
be
I've
like,
said-
shit, I'm such an asshole for fucking saying anything about it. You know what I mean? Like, that would be Superman.
Well, and I've said for a while now, if you look at the DC Trinity, you look at Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and this is the biggest mistake that Snyder made, was making him the alien god.
Yes.
And I'm thinking Superman is the most down to earth of the three of them.
Because he's always trying to be the most down to earth.
Well,
That's the
it's
thing.
because he's adopted, he's raised in the middle, in the Midwest in Kansas. Out of the three of them, Wonder Woman is the alien.
Yes.
But
he has. But my point is he has.
flawed and psychologically stuff. But Superman is the one who's the most normal of the three.
Well,
my
I mean,
point is-
since post-Crisis, he's the most normal. The fact of the matter is, up until Crisis, Batman and Superman were on the same level of normality because Batman overcame his childhood trauma and became a healed person that was on a quest for justice. Superman never had that type of trauma, but he had to reconcile with being the last of his species. And because he had a loving family of the Kents, he was able to become a whole human person out of that. Wonder Woman was, thrust into man's world, and then Denny O'Neil accidentally took away her powers for a spell there, and then
that was a big
brought them back. But she's always been the one that's the most fish out of water of the two. What's really been hurting the comic book industry and the superheroes at large has happened as a result of post-Crisis and part of Frank Miller's influence of just trying to do a really interesting story, and then editorial and fans loving it so much, saying, you know what, Batman being of sound mind is boring. Let's make him on the verge of literally being one murder away from a supervillain. and they just ran with that for decades, and they're still running with that today, which is why I'm hoping that when James Gunn does greenlit an official Batman film, because Batman Brave the Bold is most likely not happening in the sense that he initially advertised. We get a Silver Age Batman, a guy that's calm, cool, collected, that's not someone who would be in a state of arrested development just because he walks down crime alley and start having horrific flashes of his parents' murder. No, he's the example of the guy that managed to accept it. Even though he rejects the city that emboldened it, he accepts the fact that it's happened. He can't change it, but what he does, he puts a step forward to do things better, to make that a better world. And he's not someone that is completely arrested or obsessed, because if you take a look on the architectural side of what Batman is, he's a man who has had his family stolen from him, and he desperately wants to have a new family, but he can't have one in a city where families are at risk all the time. So how do you solve the problem? You make the city safe enough for families. And I mean, they almost got that right with the inclusion of the Bat family that came later on, because that's him essentially recreating a family that he has never had growing up. And, when you lose that point, you understand why Batman is like the only reason he's popular is because he's got a great image, a massive legacy, and a lot of cool gadgets and gimmicks. But if you were just able to tap into the depth of what that character was, you wouldn't need 20 Batman titles to sustain Detective Comics. You just need 2 or 3 really good ones, and then you'd start taking the connections that those writers on those titles are making and apply those similar details of like crossing the veneer of the exterior of the character to get back into what made those characters interesting. I mean, the best Batman stories from the animated series all come from the Bronze Age of Batman pre-Crises. And yet we call that the definitive Batman. It's like, yeah, because that's who he is. You don't see that anymore because everybody's taking a look at the stuff that's post-Crises. That's post-Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns. That's adding a little bit of what Denny O'Neil did when he defined Batman's new run with the Dark Knight, Legends of the Dark Knight title series. And then all the stuff that Scott Snyder did, and that
don't forget Killing Joke.
Yeah. And then Alan Moore's influence, like that one-off ended up becoming integrated into continuity. And yeah,
it wasn't supposed to be.
Gave Barbara Gordon some great depth that she was severely lacking. But if you want to, I mean, on the side things of like, to bring it back to Sydney Sweeney, you want to bring her into a DC title. You make her the supporting character of like Dinah Lance in a Green Arrow movie. she has like a handful of scenes where she's in that sexy costume. She does a couple of kick-ass things, and if that resonates, the popularity, just like with Scarlett Johansson in Iron Man 2, it's like you hit the ground running and you do a Black Canary film or a Birds of Prey film. And people will show up because you've given them the Green Arrow to go check out, and Green Arrow is surprisingly popular enough that you could debut him in a film. And you bring her in there to do that. And if people say, yeah, we want to see her in a film, it's like, okay, great. We have proven that we can use her effectively. And then now we're going to take a risk with a Birds of Prey film with starring Sydney Sweeney as Black Canary. And hopefully the audience shows up.
Yeah, well, that's why Madam Web
Green
was
Arrow,
so.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Well, I was just saying that's why Madam Web was such a disaster. My wife actually watched it. I'm like, why did you watch it? She said that was one of the worst movies ever. Popped up on her Netflix. And what I understand is that they added that last final scene because the actresses were like, well, what do you mean we're not going to be in costume and kicking ass? It's like, how could you be so stupid not to have, to do a movie and not have Sydney Sweeney as Spider-Woman, Julia Carpenter, not swinging around and, and the other characters.
At her entrance where she comes in there hanging upside down, that was Sydney saying, I want to do that. That's in the comic book. I want to do that. She's actually got the page that says this. I want to do this. Well, and the other thing with
that's why she won't get hired by Marvel.
No, that's why Marvel wants her, but she's smart enough not to go with them.
Marvel Studios.
Yeah,
I think so. I feel like that's why they won't, because they don't like people who are trying to be respectful of the material unless they're forced into hiring them, like they did with Daredevil and Kingpin. But go on.
No. The thing is, they would like her because of the following that she has and the name she wants. The problem is that Disney destroys every female actor's career.
Yeah.
Well, and I think too the other aspect of that, if you're doing a Green Arrow movie, there is such a risk if you're not careful, you end up with Green Arrow Oliver Queen being a pastiche carbon copy of Bruce Wayne, because they essentially are. What distinguishes Green Arrow, and this goes back, you have to go back and you talk about Denny O'Neil. Go back to the Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams run, where
classics. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Drive Across
Oliver
America.
Oliver Queen is the hippie. He's the hippie liberal Democrat, and you're going to have somebody to offset that. I mean, I would love to see going cross country with Hal Jordan being the conservative cop, but that's the Oliver Queen that we need in order for it to work right. And if James Gunn is doing Silver Age, that would be the Oliver Queen that he would present. And you could have that, Black Canary as the foil, and oh, come on, Ollie, it's X fill in the blank is not that bad. And he's just railing on whatever.
Well, I mean, you're talking about the Oliver Queen that was anti-government abuse of soldiers. That was against, unjustified wars, that wanted to help out the poor, that he went after crony capitalism because he didn't go after legit capitalism. That was the other part. Like, he was the traditional anti-the man, anti-big government hippie. Actually, he was better than a hippie because he showered.
He showered. And he was an actual lefty that said he was anti-government and actually lived up to the sentiment.
He lived up to it. And then he even became mayor for a time to try and slim down government. I remember that too.
Imagine that.
And you also have an opportunity here, because if you were able to do Ollie and Hal together, that would be a place where you could sit there and go, hey, look, even though we don't agree on politics, we can still be friends and get along.
Well, you could do that with Hal Jordan, but we might be having something similar to that with the Lantern series. However, Carter Hall, Hawkman, is also of similar types of politics to Hal Jordan. Those two you could have some fun with.
Sure.
Yep. Or, I mean, you got the Hard Traveling Heroes series we just talking about, Lantern and Arrow. Mm-hmm. That'd be perfect to make a, mini series out of, or, I don't know if you could do it as a movie series, but
I don't think you've got the same dynamic between Hal Jordan and John Stewart, because John Stewart's the Marine
and architect, and Hal Jordan is a test pilot, but he's space cop in the sense that the Green Lanterns compelled him to be one. Like he doesn't really have a legal background, if I understand correctly.
Well, and I'm really hoping that they don't give us pacifist Hal Jordan. That has just rankled me for the last, I don't know how long they've been doing it. I know Darwin Cook had it in New Frontier, but it's the main
Darwin's was morally driven, though. That's the difference of it. Like,
right, and it was a one-off, and it wasn't the mainline continuity. But they've seemed to have latched onto this idea of the man without fear, Green Lantern, is a pacifist. I was like, how do you make that happen? Why would you do that kind of thing? But yeah, they've just leaned into that a little bit too much. I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, sadly, we do have to wrap this up. So, Jason, Nick, Mark, Script, why don't you go around the bend and tell everybody what you got going on, and we'll get on out of here.
Who's first?
I'll go first. I'll be on TNT in a few hours. Other than that, Clobby's Comic Shop, Saturday night, 6 p.m. Central, and Talk to You Tuesday, which is back on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're talking Tomorrow Never Dies next week for Bond Month. So that's on my regular channel and my Bonded by Metal channel. So my buddies put out some videos, and I'll be working on a albums ranked video for the band Morbid Angel. So please keep your eyes and ears open for that. Thanks for having me. It's been fun hanging out with the boys. Good to see you, Script and Jason. And of course, always good to see Mark and Tom as well. Thank you.
I will go. Sci-Fi for Me TV. We're on YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, Twitch, X. Last night was it last night? Wednesday. Last night I had the opportunity to talk to Larry Nemechek for a Deep Space Mines episode, talking Star Trek.
Nice.
And Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. Central over on Sci-Fi Snobs channel, we are doing our Babylon 5 rewatch. Tomorrow, live from the bunker. It's Friday. We'll do Open Line Friday. I'm going to catch up on some headlines. And then we've got some interviews lined up in the next couple of 2-3 weeks. So do check out that. And we just hit 2,700 subscribers on YouTube.
Oh, congrats.
We're getting there.
Nice job, man.
Yes, slowly but surely.
Well, that's organic growth. That's going to stabilize. So you're good.
Yeah.
We'll keep going around the horn. So check me out on Sunday Night Geekery at 10 p.m. Eastern. And of course, you just mentioned Star Trek. So I think this is the perfect centerpiece for Thanksgiving. So I'm going to be doing a giveaway of some of these on Sunday night. So this is the turkey prize. Yep. So don't eat it.
Pie, saucer.
Pumpkin pie, saucer, corn, the forks there. Yep. So I don't know what Scotty would think of this, but
he was drunk. It's fine.
He was drunk. He's drunk on Thanksgiving, right? But yeah, it was fun hanging out with you guys, and I do late night Fortnite too if you want to have some fun gaming with the Simpsons this Friday night. So and check out my shorts. I got a lot of shorts from Comic-Con, and I've been having fun with Grok animating some of my my toys and 3D prints, which is wild. So check out the link there for some fun shorts.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'll probably be on Price of Reason's channel tonight doing a recap on Quantum Leap Revisited, and then this Saturday is Scripts on Saturdays, where we'll be reviewing a screenplay currently circulating around town. This one is called Onboarding, which is being pitched as kind of like the most dangerous game for the 21st century. So yeah, I'm hoping there'll be a fun script. So check us out, my channel, 7 p.m. Eastern this Saturday.
Awesome. And I want to thank the panel for being here. I want to thank all the mods for the help. I want to thank all the members for your help and keeping the channel running. Appreciate that. Thanks a lot, guys, for being here. Take care of yourselves. Hit the like button on the way out if you haven't already. And good night. Bye.
Cute kitty.